Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Madison and this is my knitting podcast. And it's been a few months since I posted a podcast update, so please consider this my midsummer update on my knitting. It was a very unintentional summer break that I went on, and so I'm just gonna get right into it with a few finished objects. I have two that I finished in May. I was very focused on just these two projects in May and knocked them out. But the first one is this cardigan that I worked on. Try to hold it up back here. It is the Faerie Dreams cardigan by Terri, I believe is how you pronounce it. It was in the Laine magazine issue 15 maybe. It'll be on the Ravelry project page, like all the info and stuff, but it's just a cute little cardigan. It is I held the La Bien-Aimée Cashmerino with one strand of the La Bien-Aimée silk mohair, so it is definitely not weather appropriate for the current season, but I'm really happy with how it turned out. This was a custom colorway for a yarn store in Kansas, which is where I am from, called Midwestern Sunset. So it was really beautiful. Pinks and blues. I did zero yarn management in terms of the colors and trying to get it to marl smoothly. I just did not do anything for that, and it turned out great. I think it's very consistent. I used probably about 1.5 skeins of each, the Cashmerino and the Mohair. And I had never done a cardigan construction like this before. It's all kind of seamed together. I guess the body was technically in the round, but then you kind of, knit flat as you get up here. And then you attach the front and the back together. It was my first time doing a 3 needle bind off, which felt like magic. That's such a clean, nice seam. I was really amazed. And then it was a lot of picking up stitches for the sleeves and all of the ribbing on the front. So I definitely had my fair share of picking up stitches for this. This has been blocked and I wove in all the ends. It sat for probably about a month before I finally got around to weaving in the ends. And then I just need to find some buttons for it. It has buttonholes on one side, and then I need to find some cute little buttons to go on the other side. But I'm not really in a rush because, again, it's I won't be wearing it anytime soon. It'll be a fall piece. But I'm very happy with how it turned out, and I was a little nervous going into it just with the construction of it. I hadn't knit anything like that before, and I thought it was going to take me ages. I finished it in, I think, under 4 weeks. There were so many different steps that went into the pattern. I mean, the pattern was pages and pages long, so it looked very intimidating, but I also found the pattern to be very engaging since there were so many steps. There was always kind of something new that you were reaching, and yeah. That's one FO. Second one is a pair of socks, and these are so cute. I'm obsessed. They are the Pearl Ridge Shorties by Summer Lee. It is in I think it's in her Shorties sock set volume 2 that she released a few months ago. And the yarn is it's Moondrake. It's one of the months of the La Mercerie's Year of Socks subscription that I've been getting. So yeah, this is Moondrake. I think this was March's sock set, if I'm remembering correctly. And it came with, which mini did it come with? I think it came with this darker mini, and then I had these two that I just put in. Super cute. I love the size and the fit of them, and the kind of ribbing detail on the front. I really loved doing. I hadn't knit a sock cuff down in a long time, so that was interesting. I definitely don't like the heel flap and gusset. So I think I don't mind knitting cuff down. I just don't like the heel flap and gusset. So I think if I were to do this again, I would swap in the Fish Lips Kiss heel, which I really enjoy knitting. But I love how the heel flap and gusset lays flat, obviously, like that. It looks really nice and photogenic. So there's that. And yeah, so these are cute. I have a crazy backlog of Year of Socks sock sets to get to. And I'm just letting them pile up. I don't know when I'm going to knit all these socks, but I definitely want to knit one pair from each sock set, because each sock set is so pretty. And speaking of the Year of Socks, this is another sock set that I got from that subscription. I think this is April's, maybe May's sock set. I need to take better notes on which one is which. But the yarn company is called Twill and Print, which I had never heard of before, but I really love the colors of this one, and it came with this really bright red mini. So I started on another shorty by Summer Lee. This is from her volume 1 shorty sock set, and it's called the Brioche Lite shorties, but there's no brioche. There's no brioche in there, so don't be alarmed. And I only have one done, and I'm gonna rip it out. So it's kind of on pause. It's like a half FO, but will be restarted. Basically, there is color work. It's kind of hard to tell because I picked a very complementary contrast yarn, but this blue stripe is actually a different yarn than the pink variegated main color, and the same goes for up here. But this, it like fits okay, but I kind of have to squeeze it on over my foot because I was a little tight with the color work at the cuff. And I just don't, I want a more contrasty color work here, I think. So I'm gonna rip this out. I might just do a basic shorty sock and not even do the contrast here, but yeah. And this was also an experiment in kind of modifying the pattern to be toe up versus cuff down. So I put in a Flegel heel, which is what is in Andrea Mowry's DRK everyday sock pattern, which I really enjoy. So, but I think when I redo this, I think I'm deciding this right now. I want to do a basic shorty, probably just all ribbing at the top, and then I'll probably start I'll do cuff down, do just a little bit of ribbing at the top, fish lips kiss heel, and then stockinette foot, and maybe like a ribbed kind of, what's that called? It's like arch support ribbing thing, and take out this contrasty blue that you basically can't even see. So that's where this sock is. Now we're getting into some whips. I have a few. I'm just going to stay in the sock world for a second, so bear with me. And then I have a lot of sweaters. By a lot, I mean 2. But sweaters will be right after this. I guess this is another half FO. I've started on the second sock. Cute little cuff. We're doing cuff down. I do love how quick it is to cast on a toe-up sock, though. The Turkish cast-on is magic. It feels really fast, and then, I don't know, the toe is not my favorite part, so having it at the end, I'm always like, ugh, the toe. But I've also been liking cuff down. So this is a Hermione everyday sock that I've just been knitting as kind of out and about, knitting, take it whenever I travel. It just fits really nicely in my purse. So I only work on it when I'm on the go, essentially. So this one I started cuff down, and the Hermione everyday sock, or no, did I call it the everyday sock? It's just the Hermione. Is it Hermione everyday, or is it just Hermione? I think it's just the Hermione sock. But it's a free pattern, so I'll have that linked below, and it's just really great. It creates this nice little texture. It's really easy to memorize. And then I swapped in the Fish Lips Kiss heel, which is a short row heel. If you are not familiar with it, that is sold as its own pattern. So you can buy just the heel pattern and then swap it in to anything. But I find the flow of it to be really nice because you don't have to, you're working on just one needle, obviously, but you don't have to adjust. I mean, you can adjust for like the gusset and if you wanted any extra space around the ankle, you could do increases and decreases. But for this, I just cast on 64 stitches and just did the heel with the 32 stitches on like the second row because I do a magic loop. And it just has a nice flow to it. You don't have to, you don't have to pick up any stitches. I just don't like the pick up stitches part. So yeah, but it doesn't like lay as nicely as you can see. But it is, I feel like the construction of it is, if you did an afterthought heel, it would look the same in terms of construction. But yeah, so this is cute. The yarn is, I don't know the colorway, but it is Craft Me Not Yarn Co. I think it's an old one. I acquired it via my mom's stash. She was cleaning out some yarn and I snagged it. So yeah, and then this is where I'm at on the second one. Just got the cuff. So yeah, slow but steady progress on this. And I have it in my little springtime Knitting Nelly sock bag that I am obsessed with. Okay. And then one quick sock plans. As of yesterday, Savory Knitting released another pressed flowers pattern to the family, and it is a pair of socks. And I feel like this would be a really, really pretty pressed flowers socks pair. With green as the main color, and then this pink would be the flowers. I picked both of these up at Wool and Folk last year. They are both from Earl Grey Fiber Co. Yes. I don't remember the bases. I have them written down somewhere. I will put them in the project page as soon as I get this started. But yeah, I'm like, I need some pressed flower socks ASAP. I am going to be traveling all of this next week for a family vacation, so I'm going to bring, I think, the pressed flower socks just to work on when I need something small. I'm also hoping I can like finish 2 whole sweaters in a week, but I don't think that is reasonable, but in my mind that would be ideal if I could just knit for 24 hours a day the whole week I'm on vacation. Then maybe I could get my 2 sweaters done. Okay, where are we going to next? I guess quick update on more pressed flowers. I was working on my shawl pretty regularly. I did some traveling. When was that? I guess beginning of July. I went back to my hometown because one of my oldest friends, as in we've been friends for what is it, like 16 years or something, 18 years, I don't know. She got married. I was in her wedding. It was in my hometown, so kind of made a little family trip out of it too. It was like a very long weekend. I was there for like 4 or 5 days, but all I took was, I took this shorty sock that is going to be no more, and this pressed flower shawl to work on, and I got to go to a knit night with my sister Paige at her favorite yarn store, which is Yarn Social in Kansas City, and got to meet some of her friends. Hi Erin and Susie, if you're watching. It was a great group, and I feel like half of them seemed to be spinners too, so there was a lot of spinning chat, a lot of knitting chat. It was a very fun time, but my sister Paige is also working on a pressed flowers with some of her handspun as well, and I feel like we're both at a very similar point where it's just like there are a gazillion stitches. So I need to just power through the end of this. It's just that like one row takes, I don't even know how long, so long. But I'm in the border chart at least, so we're at the end, and you can see the flowers get a little bit closer together in the border. And yeah, I don't know, I'm trying not to let the stitches fall off, but it's funny, I like love this shawl. I don't know why I'm like not working on it all the time, or like why I haven't finished it yet. I think just because of the size of it. I really love this shawl, and it's been so informative knitting with my handspun, and this is what I consider to be my first like knittable handspun that I made. It's all from the Nest Fiber Valentine's Day Advent, so I spun this up in February. I have a bunch of reels on my Instagram if you are curious about how that went. And yeah, it's been interesting. I feel like this is the second half of it, and it's definitely better than knitting with the first half. This portion of it is much, much more consistent. And yeah, I feel like it's really, knitting with this has informed kind of how I want to approach my future spins. And yeah, it's all a learning process, and it's been fun. I just said and like 500 times, so sorry. But I don't know. Maybe I'll bring my pressed flowers on my travels this next week. I gotta decide on that. But okay, I'm gonna save the new stuff for last. So we have one more update before I get to the new cast-ons. I felt like I was casting things on like crazy. But I guess it's just 2 things. Okay. This is my big cozy cardigan update. I forget where I was on the last podcast. I feel like I had just finished the body maybe, or I was about to. But we are on to the collar. So clearly it's like the biggest sweater ever. This is everywhere. I've got it all seamed up. It's really just like a big, yeah, I don't know. It's hard to tell because I have the collar on shorter needles. I mean, it's not really a short needle. It's at least 40 inches, but it's still so bunched up. So the collar is in progress, and I think I have at least 10 inches to go. So this is extremely slow going. I find that it has been hurting my hands if I knit on it for too long, which is usually like 2 rows, and then my hands hurt. But it'll be done someday. I think this is just gonna be my project for the year, as in like I think it's gonna take me until December to finish it. At this rate, I casted it on in January, and the year is more than halfway over now. So if I finish this by the end of the year, I will be happy with that. I've decided. I'm not gonna like push it too hard. I've been keeping it by my nightstand, so like if I'm watching TV in bed before falling asleep or whatever, that's usually the time I'll spend 30 minutes to an hour just plugging away on it. So that's kind of when I work on that. Yeah. I need to have a major whip down. I want to end this year with no whips. Actually, I would love to go into December with no whips because I have advents. One big one. I ordered the Chelsea Yarns advent, which I think I want to make a blanket with, because I haven't made a blanket, haven't knitted one. Or maybe I'll learn how to crochet a blanket with that. And then I ordered the Woolens and Nosh sock self-striping advent, which I did last year, and I was obsessed with it. It's a very manageable daily December advent knitting situation. So I think she closed her pre-orders for that, but if she pops up any more later this year, last year I ordered it in November, I think. And yeah, I would highly recommend. I love that one, and I love those socks. Okay, new stuff. Yay! Where do I start? I guess with this one, because I casted it on first. So this is getting into Rhinebeck plans. I will be going to Rhinebeck with my mom and I think 2 of my sisters. So last year I went with my mom and my sister Paige, and we all made the same, we all knitted a essentially coordinating sweater. It was the same pattern and we used the same yarn, but we chose different colors. And we've picked out a pattern this year to do. I'm going to keep it a secret until I finalize my plans. I am thinking I want to do a fully hand spun version for mine, but that requires me to start spinning a lot. So I don't have a sweater's quantity of hand spun yet. But we'll see. I'm thinking when I get back from my vacation in a week, I am going to kind of try out a routine where, because I want to spin it from fleece too. That's like the most, I don't have a sweater's quantity of fiber. Well, I guess I do have that Hello Yarn fiber, but I'm kind of not vibing with it anymore. I think the colors I don't think I like the colors anymore. But I have a very nice fleece that is still in a box, waiting to be washed and processed. So I want to potentially spin a sweater's quantity from the fleece if I can. I'm gonna have to like be on a really tight schedule with that, and then knit really fast. But I have some other Rhinebeck sweaters in the works because Rhinebeck is not just a one-day thing. It's a whole weekend, so need to have some options. This is the start of my kind of self-drafted sheep sweater that I've been talking about for a while. Oh my gosh, the sheep are coming along. So cute. So this is very much based on Andrea Mowry's Alpenglow sweater, which was her Rhinebeck sweater for last year. I really loved the gauge and the fit of it, of the Alpenglow that I made last year. So I am essentially using her stitch counts for that and just the general construction, and then I created my own color work pattern. But I kept the little chevron bit and like the contrast color because I really liked that. So we'll see. So yeah, I will pick up for the collar later. I did a size up from what I made last year because I want to be able to like just have it be more of a comfy sweatshirt fit. Last year I think my Alpenglow turned out with like pretty close to 0 positive ease. Like it's pretty tight fitting. I can't really wear anything underneath it. So yeah, I just want to hold this up again. I'm like so happy with it. I have not been like catching my floats at all. I've been so lazy with that, but I think it'll be fine. The floats aren't like insanely long. Because it was kind of nice coming up with my own little color work because I know how I like to knit color work, I guess. So a lot of it is just going to be 2-color. This is the only 3-color bit with the little sheep head. And this part is hand spun. Get it closer in there. The blue is some magpie plume held double. I actually picked this up for my Alpenglow last year and ended up not using it. And then I felt like the color scheme really worked. And then the collar color and this pink, and actually the white and the brown are all Pearl Soho good wool, which I love. I don't know if you know about this yarn, but I am obsessed with it. I just love knitting with it. It's like a really nice sport weight, feels very soft. Like it's very kind of lightly spun. So it just feels very like lofty and just really nice. So loving how this is coming out. This is my hand spun, which is Targi, and it was a braid dyed by 316 Dye Works, who is based in Wichita, Kansas. My sister Paige actually picked me up this braid and surprised me with it, and then I spun it up in June because I just wanted to spin a random braid in my stash, and it ended up being perfect kind of like color scheme for what I've got going on here. So that's been really fun to use. So the Alpenglow pattern has corrugated ribbing in a few different places. And I think I'm just gonna do twisted rib. I'm kind of feeling inspired by the stripe hype sweater that came out recently, and both the cuffs and like the bottom ribbing and the collar all use twisted rib, and it's like a pretty long rib section, and then I can't remember if it was just on the collar or if it was on the cuffs too, but she did just a few rows of like a contrast color at the very end, and I thought that was really cute. So I'm going to try that out. I'm thinking of doing all of the cuffs ribbing in this. Maybe I should do the bottom ribbing in pink. The body of the sweater is just going to be solid pink. Same with the sleeves. But I kind of want to use more of this color. I really like this maroon. Anyway, we'll see what happens. But this has been really fun, and I'm excited to have a little sheep sweater. It's also, the color work is, I can't take credit for it being like, I wouldn't consider it completely original. I took the colorwork chart of the Alpenglow as kind of the size structure, and then pulled a lot of references from the Petite Knitter, especially the sheep motif that's based on her Ovis pullover and the Ovis sock, both of which I've made the socks. I was a tester for the sweater, but I had horrible gauge issues, so that sweater did not get completed, but I wanted to make a sheep sweater. So that is where kind of all of that colorwork inspo came from. And yeah, so stay tuned. Maybe I'll have it finished by next week after my vacation. In my mind, I can knit that whole sweater in a week, but I don't know. Okay, and then I started another sweater, and this is with yarn that I bought at Rhinebeck last year, and it is super soft Corriedale, natural color. This is undyed, woolen spun. It's from Purveyor Fine Yarns. I hope she is a vendor again at Rhinebeck, because I'm really obsessed with this yarn. And I am knitting Thea Coleman's Widow's Kiss sweater, which is a cabled pullover, and it's bottom up, which I have not done for a sweater. So I've got the sleeves done. I feel like that might be the magic of a bottom-up sweater, is that you can just get the sleeves done, and then it's like, then the fun really begins. And then this is the start of the bottom ribbing. So I'm gonna knit a little bit more and then put it on some barber cords and try it out, or just make sure that the the circumference is a good size. I initially casted this on, this is my third time casting this on the body. The first time I casted it on with the recommended needle, which was a size 4, and I don't know if I didn't count correctly or it got all twisted and messed up, but the math was not mathing and it was a whole mess, so I just ripped it out. Casted it on again, knit probably 1 inch to 1.5 inches of the bottom ribbing, put it on a cord, and it was, I kid you not, like this wide. I could have fit 2 of me side by side, I think, in that circumference. It was huge. The gauge was way off. I did like a stockinette gauge swatch, which was on gauge, but I didn't do any swatching for the ribbing or whatever. So, I decided to go down a needle size. So this is a US 3. And I also went down to the first size. I was trying to make size 3, but I went down to the first size. The sleeves, we're gonna have to figure this out later because the sleeves are technically knit for size 3, but there isn't a huge stitch count difference between the first size for the sleeves and the third size, so I think I can maybe get an extra round of decreases in or something. I'm not too concerned. I feel like I think the fit of them is really nice. Like, I wouldn't want them any tighter than this. So we'll see. We will see. That is my slogan for my knitting. We'll see what happens. So yeah, I'm excited for this one. I've had this yarn for almost a year now in my stash, and I've just been like, every time I look at my stash and I see these hanks of yarn, I've been like, oh, I just want to knit with that. So I decided to cast it on and just call it a Rhinebeck sweater. I think it'd be really fun to have a sweater of yarn that I bought last year at Rhinebeck for this year at Rhinebeck. So yeah, we'll see how long it takes me. I haven't done a cabled sweater like this ever before. I've done like really chunky cables and then just cables in like little spots on other projects, so I'm excited for a full cabled pullover. And yeah, I'm gonna leave it there for my making updates. I've been doing a lot of spinning. Tour de Fleece just happened in July. I was really strong with the Tour de Fleece the first half. I was spinning every day. Even with traveling, I picked up a few Turkish spindles a few months ago in preparation for my travels during Tour de Fleece because I really wanted to spin every day. But the last half of Tour de Fleece, it just didn't work out with the traveling that I was doing, and I like took my spindles with me but just didn't feel called to spin on my spindles. But I really, really love spinning on the Turkish spindles. They're so cute, and I love how nice the wind on is. And it's also really gotten me into plying from a center pull ball. Sorry, I thought I heard rustling. We had a cockroach appear out of the fireplace last night, so I'm still recovering from that. I really, really hate roaches so much. And we've had 3 in our apartment this summer. Anyway, a lot of spinning in June on my wheel specifically because I knew I'd be traveling a lot during Tour de Fleece in July, and that would kind of be spindle spinning. So that was fun. I've been spinning, I think my default spin has switched to like a 2-ply fingering weight, which I'm like, I gotta get that back up because plying a fingering weight yarn takes hours. So I think spinning DK, like Sport and DK, are definitely my favorite to knit with. So I'm like, I gotta, I can thicken up my singles a little bit. And yeah, I'm like, what else has been going on? Major update. I've acquired a table loom, which I am so stoked about. I don't know what sparked it. I mean, last summer I took a floor loom weaving workshop at the Catskill Weaving School, which I am obsessed with. I've taken a few of their online courses as well. And Samantha, who runs it, is an insane weaver, artist. Her work is stunning. And where was I going with this? So I took that workshop last year, and that definitely gave me a nice taste of like weaving. I had never used a floor loom before, so that was a really fun learning experience. And then Samantha at Catskill Weaving School released her summer like workshop list, and I signed up for a 3-day weaving workshop. It's kind of like the next, I took intro last summer, which was a 2-day. You're learning just like the basics of how to dress the loom. You're doing plain weave, twill, kind of learning those more basic weave structures, I guess. So this 3-day one that I signed up for this summer it's a little bit more project based and kind of like next level, I guess. You have an extra day, obviously, to do a bit more project planning, come up with like a design or whatever. So I'm really excited to do that. I am going to that in August. And I am going to take some handspun with me to use, which I'm very excited about. But so I signed up for that, and then that really got me in this kind of like weaving headspace, and it's just so interesting and so complex, and there's so much to learn with weaving that I just wanted to like dive into it more. So I was doing a lot of research on looms, and you know, a New York City apartment is not necessarily conducive to a large floor loom of any size. So I kind of ruled that out as an option. That was not gonna be happening right now, but I was doing more research into the table looms, and I came across the Leclerc Dorothy table loom, which comes in 2 sizes, and the smallest size is only 20 by 20 inches. So that felt really manageable, really doable. I was like, I can fit that on my desk. It also like collapses, so if it needs to be like stored away, it's easy to do that. And but they're still expensive, new, as most knitting, spinning, weaving tools and equipment are. And so I just started scouring Facebook Marketplace because I was like, I feel like I can find a good deal on one secondhand. I definitely don't, I bought my spinning wheel off of Facebook Marketplace. I've actually bought all of my equipment secondhand. I haven't bought any large equipment new. In terms of spinning and weaving, it all felt very kismet because I found the exact model of the Leclerc table loom that I wanted. It was the smaller version. It was just in Jersey. It was about like an hour's drive, which is not too far. And this woman sold it to me for $45, I think. Yeah. It was under $50, which is an insane deal. Granted, it came with like a very rusty reed. Like it wasn't in tip-top shape. It had been sitting in her garage, I think, for at least a decade or two. She said she bought it in the 80s, I think, or maybe the 90s, but it was made in the 80s. So she's vintage. She's vintage. But it came with all the parts. It was functioning, and I just bought a new reed, and it's working like as good as new. So I'm really enjoying that, and I'm kind of, the knitting definitely slows down when I get into these spinning and now weaving like rabbit holes. So yay. It's also fun though. I don't know. So I'm having a lot of fun with all the making fiber things. And yeah, other than that, it is super hot in New York. We've reached the like not cute part of the summer where it's 90 degrees and super humid and just sweaty all the time. The roaches are coming out from their winter hideaway. At the same time, this summer seems to be flying by, and I'm really excited for fall and like cozy vibes, cozy season. There seems to be some construction starting, so I am going to stop it here. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please let me know how your summer is going. I would love to hear what you've been up to in terms of making. And yeah, I hope to see you sooner rather than later. And happy making.